All right, we are diving deep into a massive late-season AFC showdown. The Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Houston Texans. Now, if you just glance at this on paper, it seems like a pretty easy call. But what if I told you the team with the better record is actually the statistical underdog? Well, that's exactly the story the numbers are telling us, and we're about to break it all down.
Okay, so let's get right to it. You see 10-4 versus 8-5, and your first thought is, gotta be the Chargers, right? I mean, they've got more wins, they've got the home field advantage, they've got a superstar quarterback. It really does seem like a no-brainer.
But what if that 10-4 record is kind of a statistical mirage? Because the advanced analytics, the numbers that really measure how good a team is and predict what's going to happen next, they're screaming that this matchup is not what it looks like at all.
And this gets us to the absolute core of this analysis. The Chargers' shiny record might just be built on a whole lot of good luck in close games. And, well, the data suggests a pretty big correction is coming.
Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. This chart shows something called expected wins. So based on how the Chargers have actually played play by play, they should be closer to an 8-6 team. That 2.1 win gap, that basically means they've been pulling out wins they probably shouldn't have. And that is a huge red flag when you're about to play a team as fundamentally sound as the Texans.
To really get this, we got to talk about a key stat, EPA, or expected points added. It's basically a way of measuring how much each individual play actually helps a team score. So, for example, a 3-yard run on 3rd and 2, that's huge. That's a big positive EPA. But a 10-yard pass on 3rd and 20, that's actually a negative EPA play because it doesn't really help you get the first down. It is by far the best way to measure a team's true moment-to-moment efficiency.
And speaking of efficiency, let's flip over to the other side of the ball. Because the Houston Texans' entire identity, it's built on one thing, a historically dominant defense.
And this chart shows you exactly what I'm talking about. Look, the Chargers have a good defense, no doubt about it. They're top tier. But the Texans, they are on a completely different planet. They're not just the best defense in the league by this metric, they're the most efficient at just flat out stopping teams from scoring. They don't just stop you, they absolutely suffocate you.
And if we look at another one of these advanced stats, DVOA, which basically measures efficiency play-by-play, we see the exact same story. The Texans are number 1 against the pass and number 1 against the run. There's just no weakness to attack here. They are a statistical fortress. So let's move on and see how this all builds up, because this, right here, is where the game will be won or lost. What happens when the league's most vulnerable offensive line goes up against a defense this dominant?
49. Just let that sink in for a second. Justin Herbert has been sacked 49 times this season. That's not just a bad number. It's a sign of a fundamental, almost catastrophic failure in this Chargers offense.
The contrast here just couldn't be more stark. CJ Stroud, Houston's rookie QB, has been taken down just 23 times. That is less than half. This isn't just about the quarterbacks themselves, it's about the environment they're in. One is consistently protected, and the other is constantly running for his life.
And the problem is about to get so much worse for them. Their starting tackle is banged up, which is like putting a giant bullseye on an already collapsing pocket. And with key receivers out or limited, Herbert's going to have to hold onto the ball even longer, which is the absolute last thing you want to do against this Houston defense.
So, this all funnels down to the two young stars at quarterback. How they handle the situation of the game, especially when the pressure is on, is going to be the deciding factor.
Okay, now this is the key to the entire game. When Justin Herbert has a nice, comfortable lead, he is one of the absolute best quarterbacks in the entire league. But when the Chargers are trailing, even by just a little bit, his performance falls off a cliff. And the Texans' entire game plan is built to put him in that exact situation. Get a lead, and then just let their defense feast.
See, the Texans' formula is simple, and it is brutally effective. CJ Stroud almost never turns the ball over. They play this controlled, low-risk style of offense that's designed to do one thing: avoid their own mistakes and let their world-class defense win the game by capitalizing on the other team's errors. It is the perfect strategy against a team like the Chargers that is so prone to these negative plays.
So when we put all of this data together, the overperforming record, the defensive dominance, that huge offensive line mismatch, and the quarterback situational stats, the analytical model points to a very, very clear conclusion.
This quote from the source analysis just says it all, doesn't it? The Chargers' record has been hiding these underlying issues all season long, and now they're walking into a buzzsaw, the one team perfectly built to exploit those exact weaknesses. The data doesn't just predict an upset, it suggests it's the most logical outcome here.
And there it is. The model predicts a low-scoring defensive grind with the Houston Texans coming out on top 20-16. A really narrow victory? Sure, but one dictated entirely by Houston's defensive superiority and the Chargers' inability to protect their quarterback.
It leaves us with this fascinating question that goes way beyond just this one game. In today's NFL, where analytics are everything, what do you trust more? The shiny win-loss record you see on the screen, or the deep, predictive numbers that tell you what's really going on under the surface? This weekend, I guess we're all going to find out.